Welcome back to the Code 1098 True Crime Podcast. Thanks for tuning in again. On the last episode, we learned about the disappearance of Rosemarie Bly from Polk County, Wisconsin in 2009. Rosemarie essentially vanished without a trace. Now fast forward 12 years to June 15, 2021. That is when Rose's niece, Summer Moon Utah Wells, was reported missing from her home. She lived on an 11-acre property in Beech Creek, Tennessee, with her parents, Don and Candace Wells, and her 3 older brothers, and her maternal grandmother, who lived in a trailer on the property approximately 20 feet from the home. Her home was surrounded by woodland and creeks. The grandma's trailer was kind of at the back of the home, and the basement door to the home opens into the back of the house, and there's just a short distance from the basement door to the woods. It's been said the property is littered with debris, including an old school bus, broken generators, broken down vehicles, rusted oil drums, and various other dilapidated sheds and structures. The Wells have stated that they inherited the property from Don's mother, who died around 12 years ago, which would have been around the same time Rosemarie Bly, who is Candace's sister, went missing in Wisconsin. Interesting coincidence, right? Candace Wells has stated that the day started when she left her 3 boys at home alone and took her mother to the doctor with Summer. She then went on to make a couple trips to Walgreens, picked up a teenage neighbor boy named Hunter, and allowed Summer and Hunter to swim in a pond or a lake, and then made the trip back home, after which her and Summer helped her mom repot some plants outside. She has claimed that after she walked Summer all the way over to the porch and watched her walk into the kitchen where her sons were watching TV, she tells the boys to watch Summer and that she'll be back. She says within 2 minutes she came back and asked the boys where their sister was, and they told her that Summer went downstairs to play with her toys in the playroom. At this point, Candace yells downstairs for Summer a couple times and doesn't get an answer, which is unusual. Candace then went down to check, and Summer was nowhere in sight. She claims that Summer was just gone. She had simply vanished. A lot of questions come up when you compare the timeline of events given by Summer's parents leading up to the time it was discovered Summer was missing, and what phone records and some police reports have proven. The day allegedly started with that trip to the doctor for Summer's grandmother. Now, working back from the dispatch call and the parents' other statements, there's an estimated timeline of the day until Summer was last seen. At 12:30 p.m., Candace, Summer, Hunter, and Candace's mother dropped a prescription off at Walgreens, and it was going to take about an hour for it to be filled. So they drove to the horse pond, which I'm told is a lake, not really a pond. By 12:53, they arrived at the pond, and Summer and Hunter swim. Around 1:15 p.m., they leave the pond. By 1:30, they pick up the prescription. There's approximately an hour spent grocery shopping and making a visit to a local Sonic. By 2:30 p.m., they drop Hunter off at home. At 3:09 p.m., a picture of Summer is taken by her grandmother. By 3:15 to 3:20 p.m., they arrive at home. At 6:10 p.m., Summer is last seen going into the house. 2 minutes later, she was found missing. Then there was a 10-minute search and a call from Candace to Don. And Don packs up his work stuff and gets on the road. At 6:26 p.m., Don calls law enforcement. At 6:29 p.m., Candace calls law enforcement. Dispatch is estimated to have happened around 6:30 p.m. By 7 p.m., law enforcement has arrived. By a couple minutes after 7, Don arrives at the home. Don Wells has stated to the media that Summer went missing at 5:30 p.m. At one point, he states that he last spoke with Candace around 3 p.m. while she was at Walgreens. Records prove that the prescription was picked up at 1:30 p.m. How could Don have mistaken the time by so much? A panicked parent might mistake the time once they learned the child was missing, but how was he so off with the time he spoke to his wife prior to Summer being missing? There is a trail in the woods just a short distance from the back door that leads down to a road. The Wells family has made claims that they suspect that this is where Summer was taken to a waiting car and driven away. It's been said that there were at least 13 dogs living on the property, but the Wells have said that they are not their dogs, that they are strays that have formed packs and roam the area. At the time Summer went missing, there were 2 litters of puppies on the property, and one of those litters was under the house in a crawl space, which was near the basement door. When Chris McDonough of the interview room visited the property to interview Summer's mother, the dogs appeared from the woods and all of them began to bark as he made his way up the driveway. Law enforcement has also said that the dogs were there when they arrived and that the dogs caused an issue with the search and cadaver dogs that they had brought with them to aid in the search. When the question of so many dogs being around and barking was raised with Don, he claimed that they weren't there the day Summer went missing. He claimed that the dogs disappear sometimes for days and then come back beaten up and hungry. Now, this case has proven to be almost more mysterious than the disappearance of Summer's Aunt Rose 12 years prior in Wisconsin. The disappearance of phone records for Don, Candace, and Grandma after 3:30 p.m. that day could suggest that all 3 of them are involved somehow in Summer's disappearance. They have all given conflicting statements on whether or not the back door was locked. They have also stated that Summer loved to be outside and have claimed that the woods surrounding the property were not safe for them to even wander around in, but that Summer was always out there. It is known that Summer was often left under the supervision of her brothers and was used to playing outside on the property alone. Candace, claiming to walk her 10 steps to the house, appears out of the ordinary and calls into question when Summer was really last seen. Could Summer had wandered off and succumbed to the nature of the woods? She was only 5 years old and barefoot. How far could she have really wandered? Was she attacked by an animal or the wild dogs? This theory is unlikely given the extensive searches conducted by law enforcement that would have resulted in traces of Summer being found somewhere. Some people have speculated that something happened to Summer on the way home. However, this theory is disputed by the use of cadaver dogs searching the vehicle. If there was some sort of accident or incident at the house that resulted in Summer's death, again, the police dogs would have found something, so this is an unlikely theory as well. The possibility of an abduction by a stranger is very improbable. The family was not on any sort of set routine, and if you factor in the timing of events, it appears that it would have been almost impossible for a stranger to have known it was okay to grab Summer without being noticed. Somebody who knew the Wells, knew their property, and was familiar to the dogs would be more probable than a random stranger taking Summer. There is also the possibility that Summer was sold into a trafficking group operating in East Tennessee area. The instances of children being sold by their parents in America has drastically escalated due to economic hardships. It is a sad and known fact that children are far more at risk of harm from family members than from strangers. Factors that can increase those risks include a history of domestic violence, child protective services involvement, and drug and alcohol misuse or abuse, and any previous reports of child abuse. Both Summer's parents and likely her grandmother have some sort of those factors incorporated into their past. Summer's parents and grandmother were no stranger to the law. The grandmother abandoned her daughters to live with a girlfriend, and the daughters were raised by their father. The grandmother's brother was convicted and served over 40 years in prison for 8 counts of incest. The grandmother moved off the Wells property 2 weeks after Summer went missing. We also know 12 years ago she was living in Grantsburg, Wisconsin when her daughter Rose Bly went missing. Rose's vehicle was found in Grantsburg 5 days after she went missing. Candace, Rose's sister and Summer's mother, was known to smoke marijuana and drink. She had previously been married to a man that was approximately 20 years older than her. Candace and her first husband lost custody of their 2 children. Those children remained in foster care until they were adopted. Don, Summer's father, was previously addicted to meth and was known to traffic cocaine when he was younger. He had spent time in jail for various offenses, including burglary and drugs, dating back to when he was only 19 years old. He too was previously married and had 2 children and had previous interactions with Child Protective Services on multiple occasions. Don came from an extremely abusive background himself. He was physically abused, and his sisters were sexually abused by his stepfather. When Don was about 12, he began living with his father and stepmother. The day after Summer went missing, Don's stepsister called police and told them that Don had molested her beginning at the age of 5 until she was 12. The stepsister suffered 7 years of abuse before finally reporting it to her parents. Don has not denied it, but claims that it was consensual and that the young girl had initiated the sexual contact between them. Don has also made some disturbing statements regarding the love he felt from Summer or the love that was felt between them. It is believed by some people that the molestation of this 5-year-old stepsister when he was 12 for 7 years could be linked to the disappearance of Summer. The involvement of CPS could be the motive for the parents to make Summer disappear for fear of being taken away and or the exposure of possible child abuse, which would result in Don's incarceration. It is also a disturbing possibility that Summer was being regularly rented out for sexual gratification, and that day something went wrong and Summer was not returned as planned. The absence of being alerted by the cadaver dogs would suggest that Summer was alive the last time she left the property. Instances of historic child abuse in both parents' families possibly imply that using children for sex was a normalized practice. Summer's older brothers were removed from the home by CPS approximately 2 weeks after Summer disappeared. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation state that they are looking for the driver of a 1988 to 2000 maroon or red Toyota Tacoma pickup truck with a full bed ladder rack and white buckets that was seen in the Beech Creek area Monday or Tuesday and may be a witness. Although law enforcement has received thousands of tips to date, they have no credible leads and have never found the driver of the red truck. As far as police are concerned, as long as Summer is still missing, everybody is considered a person of interest. Anyone who may have information about the disappearance of Summer Moon Utah Wells, please call 1-800-TBI-FIND. That's 1-800-824-3463. Thank you for listening to the Code 1098 podcast, giving you past, present, solved, and unsolved mysteries and murders. If you have suggestions for cases or one that is personal to you, feel free to message us or leave a suggestion in the comments. Thanks for tuning in today. Until next week.